And welcome, sports fans, to today's Roundtable. And what a night it was last night in high school football, as most teams had to deal with, I guess you would say, Tropical Storm Isaac, making its way through southeast Missouri. And it was a tough go for many teams. Some games actually were canceled last night, but some fought through, and it was something to see with the elements playing into last night's games. And we'll go over the Dexter and Poplar Bluff game. We've got highlights from that game to show you here in just a moment, but we want to remind you that the Roundtable is here every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. here on YHC on Channel 21, as well as over the web at yhctv.com. Replayed 4 and 8:30 on Saturdays and through early next week as well. So be sure to join us live each Saturday morning here on the Roundtable as we recap all the sports happenings in our area, as well as have special guests on the show as well. And you can get involved in our show as well, sports@yhctv.com. That's our email address. And just send us those emails if you want to give a shout-out to your team out there, players, or just want to get involved with the discussion. Just email us, sports@yhctv.com. And let's go ahead and go to some scores from last night in high school football. A lot to get to, and also Arkansas got underway with their season last night, so we'll be touching on them as well. But let's go to Dexter and Poplar Bluff, and a game that was delayed by about an hour and a half. That game was gearing up for 7 o'clock kickoff, and they lined up. Everything was ready to go, and it was pouring down rain. It just really opened up right before kickoff. And as soon as they were about to kick off, lightning struck. They delayed the game and actually didn't get back underway until about 8:30 or so. And finally got the game in, but certainly was an anomaly. Yeah, we don't ever come across those instances, and it took a hurricane to do it. But they finally got that game in a late start, and it was Poplar Bluff coming out on top over Dexter 14-7, and Dexter led through most of the game. They had an early score, and we'll go ahead and go to some highlights here from last night. And starting off, Dexter moving the ball well, didn't turn the ball over. That's what really kept them in the game. Had good ball control, got a nice gain there, and ran well on the ground at times. Here's Brad Wick with a strong run. Kept the ball moving on the ground quite a bit, and now DJ Dowdy rolls out and with a nice pass, and Bearcats get their only score of the game right there. Nice passing play, and held pretty tough on the defensive end. They gave up some plays, as you see here. That's Cornelius running, but now we've got Cortez Ellis running out of the pocket, gaining some yardage. But the Bearcats didn't ever give up the really big play. They kept them in check when it comes to the running game, and there Jonathan Fells with a nice tackle. He had a nice game defensively, as you see there on both plays, and there's Logan Quatermas with a nice tackle. And Cortez Ellis had a nice game passing. He hooked up with a nice passing play there, and now the first score for the Mules, a long pass and connected, and a great catch there in the end zone. And taking a look here, this is Ryan Joyner on a nice run down the left sideline. He broke a tackle and got the Bearcats in good territory with a chance to score. But as you see here, Dowdy's going to run out and really get tagged there. He left his feet and really took a hit there by a mule, and this is where it really turned. DJ Dowdy throwing an interception, and the Bearcats were rolling well at that point into mule territory, but gave up that opportunity, and Cortez Ellis hooked up with a nice pass right there within 5 minutes of the game. And as you see there, that was the clincher there. And actually go back to that last one, the very last one, Rick. And you see there a long pass connected, and that was the clincher right there. And it was kind of strange because we had a big downpour right at that point before that pass, and our guys Ed Gargis and Travis Quatermas said, well, they might have to go with the run here because of all the rain. You can't hardly see it in the graphic, but quite a bit of rain at that point, thinking they were going to stick to the ground, and they opened it up with a nice pass down the seam, and that was basically the end of the game at that point. The Bearcats, at that point, it was just coming down rain. They were working against the wind, So the passing game was going to really be limited, working against that wind and all the rain, and just come up a little short for the Bearcats last night. But a great game between both of these teams. It was going back and forth. Dexter played very well. We had their home opener, and the defense didn't give up the big play, and they had big play potential, especially with Cornelius Timothy that had a few long runs, and Cortez Ellis had a really nice dual threat quarterback. So they didn't give up the big play. I think the biggest play they may have given up 15, 20 yards, but they really kept them in check offensively, made them gain their yardage in small spurts, but nice comeback effort by Poplar Bluff there in the end to pull off the win here in Dexter. And moving on to other games from last night, Scott City over St. Vincent 29-20. Also, we've got St. Pius out of Festus getting a victory over Chaffee in 2 overtimes, 16-8. And I think this is St. Pius' first victory going back to 2 seasons. I don't think they won a game last year. Got a nice victory in overtime, double overtime against the Chaffee Red Devils. Nice victory for St. Pius. Charleston defeated Hayti in a close one, 20-14, and Charleston's a team to look for this year. They had a close game with Sykeston last week, and a nice effort in defeating Hayti, which is known for a good football program down there. So Charleston might be a team to look out for this year, making some surprises. Also, we've got Crothersville over Malden, 39-6, and this game was close early on. I think it was only maybe a one-score spread at halftime. Romello McCoy had a nice night for the Mullen Green Wave. I think he had over 100 yards in the first half. He wasn't able to come back in the second half, reportedly, and that certainly would make a difference. Romello McCoy, certainly one of the better talents for the Green Wave, and if he's out for half, it's really going to hurt, especially going up against a team like Crothersville. And I hear Daryl Monroe really had a big night last night, the junior from Crothersville. I think over 300, I think maybe even 400 yards of offense in that game for Daryl Monroe. So Crothersville answered back well, coming off that big loss to Mountain View Liberty last week, and responded well with a win over Malden. Portageville defeated Kennett last night, 27-7, and Portageville off to a great start, 2-0 in their season thus far. They got a win over St. Pius last week and responded well with a big win over Kennett. And it's a big win for the Bulldogs. They start out 2-0. I know they're going to be excited down there. We'll be bringing you some Portageville football this year, and we'll have their next game this Friday, which will replay Sunday and Tuesday as they take on the Malden Green Wave. So we'll be looking forward to that game this coming Friday. Also, Sykeston over New County Central, 12-0. Close one there. Sykeston has had the better of New County Central over the past few years, just due to them having such a talented group come through, and New Madrid's really struggled over the past few years, but if New Madrid hung in there and held Sykeston to 12 points, not a bad effort for the Eagles. All right, also we've got Cape Central over St. Charles West, 28-7. And Jackson over Vianney, 43-14. And Grandview with a big win over East Prairie, 44-12. Also, let's move on to Arkansas. They got underway with their first week this past week, and the game that we will be showing tomorrow, Sunday, and Tuesday is Yellowville Summit over Piggott, 13-7. The Piggott Mohawks gave a great effort last night, just come up a little bit short. Yellowville Summit, very good 2A team down there in Arkansas. Piggott playing out of the 3A, so a pretty tough test for the Piggott Mohawks, opening up with a talented Yellowville Summit group, and just coming up a bit short, 13-7. And that game will replay Sunday at 7 and Tuesday at 6:30. So look forward to the Piggott Mohawks once again this year on YHC. We've got Valley View over Paragould, 40-21. Jonesboro over Greene County Tech in a rout, 69-30. Hoxie over Truman, 40-12. Walnut Ridge over Corning in a close one, 33-30. East Poinsett County in a close one over Rivercrest, 29-27. And moving on to, that's all your high school football results from last night, Missouri and Arkansas. And we'll be covering some volleyball as well. So we're moving on to the volleyball results here from Thursday night. These are Thursday night's results. Notre Dame over Farmington in 2 sets. Kennett over Charleston in 2 sets. Southland over Holcomb, 2 out of 3 sets. 2 sets to 1 there. Southland over Holcomb. Dexter defeating Jackson in 3 sets. 2 sets to 1, and Dexter opening up with a nice week. 3-0 with victories over Richland, Kennett, and Jackson from this week. So a nice start for the Dexter Lady Bearcat volleyball team. Also, we've got South Pemiscot over Malden in 2 sets over the Green Wave. And those are results from the past few days. So, like I said, interesting matchups last night, especially with the elements of Tropical Storm Isaac making its way up. And boy, there were some downpours last night in some instances at Dexter. Anyways, I'm sure it was like that all over the region, and it was a little different. We haven't had rain all summer, but now all of a sudden it comes, and having to play with the elements of the heavy rain and the soggy field. Certainly tough elements, but makes it interesting as well to throw that element in there in the game. And football's one of those sports different than others that you got to actually have to deal with the elements in some instances. And it was kind of fun to see last night. You don't see that very often, playing in elements such as the heavy rain last night and the soggy field. Boy, you just see the water just standing on the field and some points of last night's game. And we're going to take a break and be back with some state rankings in high school football and volleyball. And we'll be talking about more volleyball as the season progresses as well. So we'll be back with those coming up.
My country, tales of the sweet land of liberty, of the icy land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside let
Welcome to NFL Total Access,
the show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
In addition to unlimited calling, New Wave telephone users have a wide range of great phone features available. And now with the help of New Wave Internet, they're even easier to use thanks to our convenient online phone manager. Just log on to your MyWave portal. Now phone features like call forwarding can be set up instantly from any computer. Reliably activate or deactivate your call forwarding. And even set your home phone to ring once when a call is forwarded. Home telephone service made even better with New Wave Communications. Call today.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, insuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days, and we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
And now we're going to take a look at some state rankings for the state of Missouri, leading off with after week 1 coming into week 2. So these rankings will not reflect last night's games. Starting out with Class 1, Missouri football, Hamilton. They're number 1. 2, Wellington Napoleon. 3, Valley Catholic. 4, Salisbury. 5, Tipton. 6, Miller. 7, South Shelby. 8, Skyline. 9, South Harrison. And 10, Thayer. And not much movement in that poll in the top part, but Thayer did move in to the top 10 with a big win last week over Hayti. And Hayti was there, I think, around 9 or 10 in that poll, so they basically swapped out in the top 10 in that Class 1 poll. And in Class 2, Lamar at number 1 again. 2, Maplewood, Richmond Heights. 3, Mountain View Liberty. 4, Lafayette County, 5, Blair Oaks, 6, Holden, 7, Clark County, 8, Crothersville, 9, South Callaway, 10, a two-way tie between Lawson and Mountain Grove. And Crothersville moved down a bit in that poll. I think they were 5th in that poll, and moved down to 8 with that loss to Mountain View Liberty. I think Mountain View may have moved up from 4 to 3, or they may have been at 3, and Crothersville's at 4. Either way, they're in the top 5. Crothersville moves down a bit. That loss last week to Mountain View. Class 3, John Burroughs on top still. 2, Maryville. 3, Cassville. 4, Oak Grove. 5, Centralia. 6, Richmond. 7, McClutter South out of Berkeley. 8, Soldan. 9, Logan Rogersville. And 10, St. Genevieve. St. Genevieve moving into that top 10 this week. In Class 4, Webb City on top at number 1. 2, Harrisonville. 3, Helias out of Jeff City. 4, Liberty North. 5, Bolivar. 6, Vashon. 7, St. Francis Borgia. 8, Raytown South. 9, Sykeston. And 10, Hannibal. In Class 5, Kirkwood at number 1. 2, Lee Summit West. 3, Fort Osage. 4, Rockwood Summit. 5, Staley. 6, Webster Groves. 7, Hazelwood East. 8, Fort Zumwalt South. 9, McClure North. And 10, Park Hill South. And those are your state rankings for the state of Missouri in football. And look forward to those each week. And also we're going to be introducing Arkansas state rankings as well. So be sure to tune in for that from Arkansas for their state rankings as well. And we're going to take a look at the volleyball state rankings for the girls. Starting in Class 1. These are the preseason rankings coming in. Valley Catholic at number 1 in Class 1. 2, New Haven. 3, Eminence. 4, Lesterville. 5, Leopold. 6, Liberal. 7, Sacred Heart, 8, Osceola, 9, Zalma, and 10, Bernie. Got a few local teams in there. Zalma and Bernie, also Leopold and Eminence. They're in the top 10. Class 2, St. Pius out of Festus at number 1. 2, Herman. 3, Scott City. 4, Bloomfield. 5, Orchard Farm. 6, Whitfield. 7, St. Paul's Lutheran. 8, Bishop LeBlanc. 9, Lafayette County. And 10, Fatima. So we got I guess you would say 2 Southeast Missouri teams. Festus a little bit up north. They're in the top 5. And Herman, I think they're the defending state champions. And Scott City won a few years ago. So got some great talent there in the top 10 here in Southeast Missouri. Class 3. St. Francis Borgia at number 1. 2, Villa Duchesne. 3, Notre Dame out of Cape. 4, Logan Rogersville. 5, Pembroke Hill. 6, Windsor. 7, St. Pius out of Kansas City. 8, Westminster Christian Academy. 9, St. Genevieve. And 10, Odessa. In Class 4, Lee Summit West on top. 2, St. Joseph's Academy. 3, Lafayette. 4, St. Teresa's Academy. 5, Ozark. 6, Blue Springs South. 7, Kickapoo. 8, Incarnate Word Academy. 9, Nixa. And 10, Coruscant. And those are your volleyball rankings for the state of Missouri. We'll bring those each week to you here on the Roundtable. And looks like we've got the same kind of consistent talent in volleyball once again this year, especially you look in that Class 2 poll. Got Scott City and Bloomfield right there, neck and neck as they've been over the past few years. And Bernie in Class 1, very good team as well. So we're looking at the consistent programs staying at the top of those polls for the state of Missouri and making their case to be the best team here in Southeast Missouri as well. So look forward to bringing you those polls each week here on the Roundtable. And be sure to email us if you have any comments and want to get involved in the discussion. sports@yhctv.com. If you want to talk about the games from last night, we'll have a segment at the end of the program to talk about all those emails coming in. So send them to us, sports@yhctv.com. And we'll take a break and come back with some other things. Going to talk about college football getting underway today and this weekend and talk about some of the games that are already taken place. And we'll be back with that coming up.
At Allen Christian in Dexter, you'll like the way we do business for many reasons.
We make the buying experience simple with a large selection of Buicks and GMCs to choose from.
We offer quality pre-owned vehicles priced to fit any budget. No gimmicks, guaranteed.
Shop us any day, anytime, here in Dexter or online at allenchristian.com.
We service what we sell with one of the most experienced service departments in the Heartland area. Selection, price, experience, family owned for over 53 years. Allen Christian Buick GMC, Dexter.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
All right, now we're going to take a look at some college football matchups taking place this weekend, and probably the biggest game of the weekend to look forward to. It's 8th-ranked Michigan at 2nd-ranked Alabama. So the defending national champions, open up with a tough matchup against the Michigan Wolverines later on today. Also, Jacksonville State at 10th-ranked Arkansas, 14th-ranked Clemson at Auburn, North Texas at 3rd-ranked LSU. Missouri State on the road to Kansas State, taking on the 22nd-ranked Wildcats. Top-ranked USC hosting Hawaii. Kentucky at 25th-ranked Louisville. Murray State at 7th-ranked Florida State. Southeastern Louisiana playing Mizzou today. They're in Columbia. And Arkansas State got a tough task on the road up in the Pacific Northwest, taking on the Oregon Ducks. They're in Oregon, 5th-ranked Ducks, later on today. And that game will replay Wednesday night at 6:30 here on YHC. We bring you Arkansas State Red Wolves football here on YHC Wednesday nights at 6:30, and we'll have that game against Oregon this Wednesday night. So look forward to some Pac-12 football here on YHC this coming Wednesday. And games that passed last night, Boise State fell to Michigan State, and earlier in the week, Thursday night, it was South Carolina defeating Vanderbilt, and that was a close-knit game all the way to the end. And Southeast Missouri State opened up their season Thursday night with Central Michigan on the road, lost that one 38-27, but not a bad opener for the Redhawks on the road. So hopefully the Southeast Missouri Redhawks put together a fine season, as well as the Red Wolves from Arkansas State, and the Red Wolves coming off that Sun Belt Conference Championship last year. Hopefully they can follow that up with a fine season and deliver some good games to us here on YHC Wednesday nights at 6:30. So that's the games to look forward to. Not any big marquee matchups. I know college football for the first few weeks known as kind of the cream puff games. You know, Mizzou's got Southeastern Louisiana, and kind of the tune-up games, I guess you would say, as teams get ready to get into their conference schedule. And let's go ahead and take a look at our televised schedule for the next upcoming games. The next Dexter game we've got will be Kennett on September 21st. That'll be live from Charles Bland Stadium here in Dexter as they take on the Kidded Indians. We'll be looking forward to having the Kidded Indians on the broadcast coming up September 21st. And taking a look at this coming Friday, we'll be down in Portageville, taping that Portageville and Malden game September 7th, and we'll replay that the following Sunday and Tuesday here on the YHC. So that's a nice matchup to look forward to. Portageville opened up with a 2-0 record. Malden at 1-1 with a win over New Madrid County Central and a loss last night to Crothersville. So Malden's not going to really be, I guess you would say, surprised by the on-field talent. Going up against Crothersville already. Portageville got a talented team. They're going to host Malden this coming Friday night. We'll be looking forward to that matchup this Friday there in Portageville. And also Piggott will be down in Piggott once again as they take on Brooklyn and we'll be replaying that Sunday and Tuesday of the following week. So that's what's to look forward to next week on our televised schedule. And let's take those emails. Be sure to send them sports@yhctv.com. Sports@yhctv.com. We've got a few here to look at, but we're going to give you the last few opportunities to email. So send them to us, sports@yhctv.com. And go to touch on the Dexter and Poplar Bluff game. You can catch that replay. We're going to actually replay that tonight. We actually got it ready already to replay, and we're going to replay that at 5:30 tonight after the replay of the Roundtable here. And that'll be at 5:30, and also replayed Sunday at 4 for the Dexter and Poplar Bluff games. Look forward to that replay for this weekend. We'll have it available online to view as well, but we've had some website problems. Our hosting company having some server issues, so our website's been down for the past few days, and apologize for the folks out there that wanted to watch the game through our website last night and just weren't able to do so. Our website's been down for the past few days, so apologize for that. And it's kind of out of our hands. It's just a waiting game at this point to get our website back up through our hosting company. So hopefully that'll come up or be back up in the next few days, hopefully. And let's take those emails, so keep those coming, sports@yhctv.com. And we'll take one here. We got don't have a name here, but we got one talking about the Portageville Bulldogs, saying they got a nice victory over Kennett last night, and it'll certainly help due to the playoff format, getting the extra points due to Kennett being in the upper class, which that is true. We've talked about that. The playoff format rewarding teams for playing bigger schools, and if you get a win over that school, a bigger school, it does help. But also strength of schedules in there as well. So if you got a weaker, larger team, it doesn't help as much, but certainly you'll get points for playing a larger school. Portageville over Kennett, and Portageville off to a great start. I know they got to be excited down there. They struggled a bit over the past few years, opened up 2-0 in the season. They've got to be really excited. Jeff Bullock down there coaching now. I know he's bringing a lot of enthusiasm to the program. He's got a great attitude. Hopefully that'll continue for the remainder of the season there in Portageville. Keep those coming, sports@yhctv.com, and we'll take your emails here on the air. And I got an email here. See, this one's from Corey. Got an email from Corey about the Bearcat game, and it said they get wrong email. Sorry. Got an email from Michael. Michael saying they got a great effort last night, just come up a bit short, and very impressed with the Bearcat effort due to the considering the conditions they were playing in, and good luck next week as they take on the Sykeston Bulldogs. And that's certainly a great effort by the Bearcats last night, and they really kept themselves in the game. They didn't turn the ball over until late with that interception, but I think the Bearcats really did themselves well by not turning the ball over, giving themselves better opportunities to score, and forcing Poplar Bluff into some turnovers. Poplar Bluff had 2 fumbles lost, and were able to take advantage of that, getting good field position. And Dexter played quite well, I thought, last night. They executed offensively, moved the ball, and defensively they held Poplar Bluff, from making the big play. They really forced Poplar Bluff to move down the field, and Cortez Ellis had a few nice passes. He was just that good in the passing game last night and proved to be the difference in that game. But Dexter showing some signs they're going to be able to compete for that district title or a good district standing come the end of the year. So this is probably a team we're not going to see their best football until the latter part of the year. Graduating 18 seniors, they're certainly going to need the full season to develop when it comes to playoff time. So we haven't seen the best of the Bearcats by far in this season so far. So they're going to certainly develop as this season progresses. Talking about that matchup with Sykeston. Sykeston had a tougher go with New Madrid County Central last night and shown themselves to be vulnerable. When they're playing Charleston, played Charleston pretty close, and New Madrid County played Sykeston pretty close. So, Dexter's got to be going into that game with some confidence that they can compete, coming off a tough game with Poplar Bluff, competing with them quite well, and Sykeston not kind of running away with games as they have over the past few years. So, Dexter should feel confident going into that game next week that they can compete and potentially win that game in Sykeston. And keep those emails coming, sports@yhctv.com. We've got one more here, and we'll wrap it up after this if we don't have any more. And we've got an email about volleyball, taking a look at the rankings that you issued. Looks like we got quite a few teams going to be competing for the state championship this year, and it's the way it's been over the past few years. Bloomfield, Scott City. It's been a great rivalry here in Southeast Missouri, making runs for state titles, and it pretty much goes through those two teams here in the Boot Hill, but some awful tough teams out there, St. Pius and Herman there in Class 2, and looking at Valley Catholic in Class 1, certainly some tough teams on up north to face once you get out of Southeast Missouri here. And that's one good thing about Southeast Missouri when it comes to volleyball. They're now hosting the state championships at the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau. So once we get into that time, you can go up, make the drive up to Cape, and watch the state championships. So it's a nice advantage for us here in Southeast Missouri. And that's going to be for I can't remember how many years they made that for, but it's numerous years that the state championships will be in Cape Girardeau at the Show Me Center. So it's a nice advantage for us here in the Boot Hill. And that's all we have for you today for the show. We appreciate you for tuning in as always. And as I mentioned on our first show last week, we're going to make some big additions to the show. We're going to replace our set here. We're going to upgrade some things, and the format's going to change a bit as well. We're going to add some things, make it more interactive with our viewership, and bring a lot more to the Roundtable probably at the end of this month. It's September now. Going to be at the end of this month before we have those additions made. So look forward to the end of this month in September, and we'll have more to bring to you here on the Roundtable. So some good additions to look forward to as well. We're really taking some time with this. It's a process to get it all put in place, and we'll try to deliver you a better product here on the Roundtable. And we'll look forward to having you back next week. And until then, have a great week. Be safe out there over your Labor Day weekend, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.